interesting stuff. But CSO with Japanese, I like that. For some of these maps, some of these hybrid maps, we've seen him playing a really, really solid Japanese. He's been going for these kind of Onobugeisha switches late into the game, which is really cool. So excited to see that play out. Got China. China's really solid. We could see China versus Xi on one of the maps, maybe. Yeah, I don't see a draft win here.
The CSO definitely got some civs that I can't wait to see in his hands, because from
Yeah.
CSO, we've been seeing a whole variety of playstyles. There's a lot of people that now have switched to a more passive playstyle, letting the economy do the talking. And a lot of these aggressive players have been punished because the defensive playstyle is so rewarding right now. But CSO has adapted. He knows when to wall up. He knows when to be aggressive. He gives me. Louis has always been a sit back and let my walls and my economy and my raid here or there do the talking. But CSO takes that, he does it as well, and does the aggression when he needs to. Wham, now we get to see those two sides of Wham as well. And I'm really, really happy we get to see these two against each other, because these boys, they I'm excited to see if CSO is gonna be number 4 right now in games, because I know in the last EGC tournament Beastie beat him, but at the same time he put up an amazing fight against Louis. So CSO, star on the rise, excited for it, guys. Let's get into it. The boys are ready,
Let's see.
and see how this bad boy plays out.
Excited. I love this transition, by the way, with the little.
We just need to make it a little
Yep.
quieter. Don't worry. For all of you who've lost your ears along the way, we're fixing that for next time.
It's visually fun, though. I gotta say.
We actually
Alright.
had a real sheep for this. My editor went to his mom's house and he put a Steelseries headset on the sheep, and we filmed it, or he filmed it. Hard work. He's got probably the
That's
hardest
hard work.
jobs in the world.
That's crazy. What a task. Imagine like writing a check and trying to describe the reason for the exchange of money for that task. I had to film a sheep in a headset. 50 euros, please. Okay, moving on. So we can see the split screen of the sheeps and see how that goes. We got Roos, it seems, on the north side of the map. I kind of missed the mini map. I was thinking about the sheep. Or the goat? Sheep?
The sheep.
Or sheep.
Okay, let's go look at the spawns.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. So we got CSO in that north corner. Got the double hunting cabins set up, so a couple scouts on the map to help contest the sheep, and it offers you the opportunity for prof scouts. On the south side, we have Wham in the Malians, conveniently with a very safe gold in the back here. Very convenient. It's a bit tricky to keep that one safe. It is a bit like exposed on that left. It's hard to wall that in right on that left side, but that's generally where your army's going to be, it feels like, for most of this game.
Yes. I feel that the gold that he has here definitely is not one of those goals that you feel you can protect easily. But on the other side, though, I know it's forward, but at the same time with the woodline here, it does feel like this one will offer a little bit of refuge if it does get a little bit out of control. The thing about Rus is, I feel like they don't get punished on the map as much, because here you can easily put down a high trade house, get a decent amount of wood, and still have your deer in a pretty safe spot. So for CSO, this definitely favors him a little bit. And I would definitely want to be in the shoes of CSO if I'm thinking about civilizations on this. So CSO on Rus, not something I would take lightly from Wham, but we've seen Malians on this map pretty recently. And the Farimba has been so cool. I would really love to see one of those out, especially when you're playing against all those pesky horse archers that are just going to be running around you.
Yeah, you get the javelins with the move speed. It seems to be a really solid option overall. The move speed and the poison, I almost think it's like really strong, right? Those javelins feel like they can honestly be really hard to deal with in a lot of the games that I've been playing. But we'll see. The Golden Gate here, I really like the high trade house option as well, like you said, for CSO. I think that this map spawn really favors that. I would maybe even put it more south, right? Like kind of in between the forest, because at that point, you're going to have to chop wood at some point, right? So like kind of in between them almost directly could be good. I would have even considered maybe the Kremlin. Maybe that's outdated meta at this point, but even the Kremlin, maybe to the south of that forest by these deer, like right here. A Kremlin could be really interesting. But definitely, I think CSO's approach is more secure and more stable with the high trade house, or sorry, the Golden Gate giving just so much reliable income.
I'm liking the
NBC.
amount of times that you've mentioned the Kremlin, though, because it
I,
tells
s-
me that you believe. You believe in the Kremlin still.
I believe in it. I believe in it in some cases. Like the Golden Gate is really good. Don't get me wrong. Since the buff to it, I think it's become a very, very solid landmark that is hard to pass up on. But I think on some maps, the Kremlin still offers you like a level of safety and protection that feels really good to play with.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you don't need that against Malians early game. I'm not sure. You'd have to think about it more. I haven't played this map, this matchup, so it's hard to know exactly what the players are thinking here.
Now, with Malians, we'll see now if the play is to go for Pro Scouts, but with the amount of houses here, we know. We know exactly. Ooh, I say we know, but we have a wheelbarrow, ladies and gentlemen. Is this a Pro Scout or is this just a bamboozle? But on the Rus side, definitely still going to be seeing our Pro Scouts. I'm just a little bit concerned here. We do see the 2 purple dots trying to push these closer to his base. Pretty cheeky coming out of CSO, but the right move, because you are going to be trying to yoink those. Getting them to disappear from the minimap as well would also bode pretty well for these guys. Now, the scout does face check a little bit into the TC, wants to see what's cooking, but we know what's cooking. This is Rus. They do the same thing every time. They're going to pro scout, and they're going to overwhelm you with horse archers. But Malians on this side now. Let's just look at the villager split. Everything on wood, stable coming out.
I'm almost wondering, like, is this just gonna be skip the scouts and go straight for Sofa? Like, no way, right? Like, we'll know in a moment, but there's no way this is like a Sofa opening, right?
It is a
Yeah, okay,
scout
scouts.
opening.
Scouts. I was like, it's got to be Warrior Scouts. But I was curious, maybe like Wham's been cooking something, because we saw an interesting thing in Wham's previous game set, right? Against Starflark, right? We saw the approach from Malians to trying and deal with Prof Scouts was open spears and then do Prof Scouts and then try and get your own scouts out. It felt just a little bit slow. So maybe the thought process here is that you can get this to work, but doesn't this also feel a little slow? Like Prof Scouts just finished, so these deer are going to start coming in very soon.
And with Rus, you don't need all of the deer to actually make this worth it. So for
Yeah.
him, this is already a pretty good spot. He's
Exactly.
already made the deer disappear from the map, He is pretty happy just now trying to pull guys back. So getting a few of your opponents here, like we mentioned earlier, it's already offsetting the food significantly. Now, spearmen coming out too, and more scouts. So with the amount of scouts, you're definitely going to be able to shut down some of these, but not all of them. And with the numbers that we're seeing here from CSO, they're actually going to be able to fight back quite a bit. Most these deer
Yeah,
are.
that's what I mean about the timing. Like, if these Warrior Scouts get sent packing, which with good micro they shouldn't lose too much, but like you can see here, like this deer pack is just gonna get slurped up. And I'm just imagine. Okay, hear me out. I know you wouldn't have Prof Scouts as fast, but imagine the Kremlin was here. I'm just saying, you'd have the deer. You don't even have to put your vills there, right? Like you just have enough. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna stop saying, but I'm just saying.
So next up, Winston playing
Ooh.
Prof Scouts only. We can do a show batch ensuring we get Kremlins off meta landmarks only. Twitch chat votes for all the landmarks you have to go for, and we're gonna be seeing.
No.
Oh yeah,
No.
Twitch chat.
No.
Winston, are you Twitch chat right now?
Oh no.
No.
Oh no, actually, that's a good point. Actually, he should have gone the other landmark. No.
No.
Sorry.
I like this, getting a singular knight out for this, and just getting that charge damage
Yeah.
off, because these guys are going to be healing anyway. Don't want to be losing a scout too early on. And he does pretty good at bringing these home, but you can see he's just trying to get the scouts to bring the deer as close as possible. The problem is, there's still a lot of units that he needs to deal with, and a scout getting surprised, or very, very close to being low. Archers now, the numbers are looking good, so he's going to be able to handle these Donzers, but you can see these scouts have their blades out, and he shift-clicked on all 3 of those.
I find this really interesting. I think Wham is kind of getting his money's worth out of this. Like, a lot of scouts are going down, and he hasn't invested too much yet behind this. He's done a lot of his ecotechs. He's starting his cattle boom. He's at 6 out of 20. Like, he's gotten horticulture. So he's gotten his first food upgrade. He's just going to completely ignore the deer, just try and deny and make this really expensive for CSO to invest in. And I think CSO might be feeling it a bit here. He's invested a lot of resources into this military, and a lot of his scouts went down. He's had to train a lot more. And behind this, like, Wham is getting his economic investment kind of, in air quotes, for free, completely unperturbed. He set up 2 pit mines. He's gotten that exposed pit mine. He's gotten this one in the back. He's got 8 cattle in their ranches. They're chilling, they're vibing, having a good time, doing cow things. Man, I really like this play from Wham. This is almost like, I don't want to keep harping on it, but it's almost what Starfleck was trying to do to Wham, right? I think the big difference was Starfleck also clicked Prof Scouts, and I think it just put too much emphasis on winning the competition, whereas Wham is just trying to, like, kind of make it seem like he's going for it almost. It's like a bit of it's a cool play. It's a cool thought. And maybe this is what players have been doing normally, but I haven't seen this exact style just recently. Not this paid this much attention to it, if that makes sense.
That does, and I think
really
the
like it.
fact that Wham is reading into how do I deny this as well, and the way he's denying it too is just by snacking on the deer himself. But this level of aggression has been beautiful. We see the scouts being pulled back instantly. You don't want to be losing those, and again, just picking off another scout is definitely worth it for him. Now, Wham, he does lose a victim here or there, but behind it, he's got an economy set up, and he's getting a lot of free resources to pay for this. Now, you can argue that Rus is doing the same, right? But it's not to the same extent as that Calboom. And with the hole, the big gaping hole he's leaving here, we are not going to be seeing Farimba today. We have sofas, boys.
Yeah. Interesting situation. And on the destroyed value, though, just looking at it, I mean, CSO has a larger army, more units, better units, and he's killed quite a lot of Wham's raiders here. I think Wham lost maybe more units than I realized. Maybe I missed some fights, but yeah, the destroyed value's really in favor of CSO.
Now the question is just, have the cows paid off for it already? And I think that's my big question here. If we're looking at the, oof, my goodness, I'm trying to click it so we can actually see the resources. But scouts are pulling out the blades, making things a little bit harder. You might lose one of these as well. And no, never mind. Fast feet. They don't have big armor to carry around, and high trade house. A little bit aggressive here.
I like that a lot. I think he can get away with it. He has a bigger military. I don't think there's a threat in any, like, short term that's going to immediately push him off that, and that's going to be better for the gold, right? Covers way more trees than a safer one closer to the TC. But Wham's not going to be too far back from this age up. He's just 30 gold away.
It does also feel a little bit safer than if you want to expand into other parts. If you want to get onto the wood here, there's a lot more arguments for you to wall off if you needed to, especially against Malian, which is such a mobile civ. Now hitting Castle Age pretty quickly. We'll see if he goes for those warrior monks pretty soon. He does instantly use those archery ranges, but it is to upgrade the normal archers, which makes a lot of sense, especially when you have that many. Now, Monastery gets put down, and yes, we will have a battle of our relics with a few seconds on the side of CSO. Now, Wham does have a pretty scary army, but there are a majority of Donzos, and those bad boys are not going to fare too well against this army, at least for now.
Yeah, very standard play from CSO till this point. I'm curious if he's going to mix in any other units or just go for the Knight Vet Archer mass and just play with that. He's got the Warrior Monks as well to help. If he does bring one to the fight, he gets that little bit of a buff there from the inspiration, or he can just grab some of these relics, which he should have a pretty significant advantage in, unless Wham is able to stay mobile with these 5 Sofa he has. He's queuing them up, getting more, getting the Veteran Sofa. And we'll see how this fight goes, because Wham's got to be ready. CSO might be feeling confident enough to dive. We see the switch into Horse Archers behind this. The Vills on the gold going to have to retreat. This is where the army could be vibing. But Wham just sitting back for now. Just hanging out. He's feeling cozy. Going for the walls on the right side, trying to secure two gold mines on that side.
And we do see the Knights actually pushing people off of the deer for now. And that little raiding party just ensuring that Wham's army needs to be on the move too. Now, Wham doesn't mind moving, especially with that army of Sofas, but he needs to be careful with these Donzos into that big mass of archers. We do see a ping over here. Sofa is out a little bit far away, and the archers do clean him up. Wham now not focusing too hard on getting those military upgrades. He does have +1 ranged armor, but seeing that mass of Sofas probably will encourage him to get +2. He does go for the sofa armor as well, which is going to be so helpful, especially when those raids start to happen.
Ooh, nice catch on the Knights, though. Danso's getting a lot of damage off there.
Now the horse archers are joining that party, but at the same time there's a knight or a sofa raid happening. Villagers are forced off of gold, but that's not something that Roos minds too much.
Yeah, and let's check the relics. So already one secured for CSO. The second one going to be pretty easy for him to pick up. He's protecting the third one on the south, but the army is coming from Wham, and where are the knights? Where's the protection? Looks like, yeah, CSO's going to have to run, and it's not going to be able to grab this relic. Tricky stuff. These 4 sofa and the warrior scout are doing a lot of work at keeping the more oppressive force to this point of CSO's army out of the fray, and that's kept the archers relatively ineffective as well, because without the support they really can't take any good fights.
And the moment they step out of the base, woo! Once
Yeah.
they step out of the base with a bunch of sofas that can potentially collapse on you, this becomes so difficult. And you can see he's getting +2 range defense now. He realizes how hard this can be to defend. So Wham being the man who is keeping you active. And I actually have seen a mass sofa play from Wham before. It does feel like we're edging towards that as we see this composition just majorly becoming more and more sofas. Especially with you having your Fulani, you probably are enjoying that sofa production. He does get a few archers now, poison arrows coming in too. So he does respect the archers and horse archers coming out of CSO, but getting that mass sofa is going to be disgusting. Now, we do see more archery ranges being added, so see if Wham tries to make a connection pretty soon.
I think he's okay to chill a bit, right? Because so far he hasn't taken too much damage from CSO's timing. Remember, CSO had the Prof Scouts, so a lot of his economy recently has been propped up by the deer, but that should be running out relatively soon, right? You know, it's around 18 minutes, 19 minutes. It's like most of the deer are gone, and there's very little food under your TC anymore, right? And that's when CSO is going to have to do some transitions. We already see that here, adding in 5 farms, and keep in mind, Wham lived while making the majority of his cow boom. He's already up to 17 cows. And now he's starting to see that archer transition, 22 vills on wood, so he's going to be able to produce quite a lot of archers in short order. And we could see Wham heading towards that 150, 160 pop that Malians get really comfortable with around 20 minutes. He could be hitting a really solid timing here. And like you said, that could put CSO on the back foot. That could open up Wham to get a really good forward of the Huntress in the middle. If not, Wham could maybe even win earlier than that. I'd be surprised, but maybe not. You know, CSO still has 27 horse archers. And growing, which is a scary amount of units on the field.
And
But with Sofa Archer, I don't see what they're doing.
Now, the problem is with these knights, they are caught up, but luckily Wham does not spot them in time. They get a little bit of damage onto the one, but a villager is their target, and we do see the rest of the army coming to try and reinforce, but some of these villagers are going to be in a little bit of danger. That's just a lot of sofas. You do not want to sacrifice your knights like this.
Wait, but Wham is going to trap the immobile units here, which none of them were brought forward. Okay, so the archers were kept in the base, so it's just the mobile units in the front, but with poison archers on the field and vet now as well, I believe, on those archers. Yeah, he's got vet archer as well. Going to take the big engagement. Wham just hard committing with the sofa, but is that going to be too much? Is that going to be too deep? He does have quite a lot of armor on these bad boys, so it could be enough. The Danso and the archers coming into support from the back. CSO trying to kite backwards throughout this fight, gonna sack his archers on the front lines. Just a few knights remain for CSO. And both players are gonna back off, but I think Wham came out a little ahead from that. Look at the destroyed value now. Up almost 2,000 resources. So Wham really getting the better of these trades.
Problem is not just the destroyed value that now goes into the favor, but it's also the fact that the resources per minute for Wham is a lot easier than it is for CSO. We can see, even though it looks pretty similar here, we have to keep in mind that these are finite food sources. And a lot of what Wham has, if we switch back here, you can see he only has 25, and he is pretty much getting a lot of value from that. Now, a few of the villagers does get pushed back. We do see CSO being out here on the food sources, especially on a boar, which is why his income is so high. But again, now that's limited with this type of raiding. And the Wham Wolves are going to keep a majority army that loves to raid out. These guys don't do well against walls, and they do not do too well in straight up engagements. So this is probably not a fight he wants to keep taking. He needs to find a way to kite. And the villagers here, again, being idle because they just want to go back onto the ball. Instead, they say berries might be safer.
Yeah, gonna have to retreat from the center of the map here because Wham has that really overwhelming force now, and the game's been really even up to this point. You know, neck and neck Vil counts. You know, economy has been relatively close, population pretty close altogether, but getting a little scared for CSO. I don't know. It feels like he's not building towards something with like a lot of momentum behind it, and I feel like Wham has just got something going here.
Exactly. CsOH's comp is becoming very one-dimensional, and he's getting a few knights in between here now, but the problem is just with the amount of investment he's made into these horse archers, it feels like he's doubling down, even though he's seeing that the trades are not going well. More villagers getting idled out, and not just because Wham is putting up a pretty good presence here at the front. So far, they keep getting picked off, but at the same time, so are the horse archers. So with basically free food coming his way, he probably doesn't mind just replacing these, because that population is exploding. We're almost at 130 now, and sofas just keep getting added. So, I don't know if CsO has an answer to this, though. Like, what unit, what composition can he realistically do that deals with this? The sofas would get on top of siege, but all of a sudden an engagement comes through, and it does look like the horse archers are going to have to work really hard.
Yeah, the knights and on the front line just evaporates. But honestly, not too great for Wham either. Down to just 17 sofas on the field. Gonna have to keep producing those. And I think CSO might be okay with that in the short term, because I think a big fear for him must be the food economy for Wham. If he doesn't keep taking these trades, and he lets Wham just sit idle for a minute, you're gonna have some keeps go up right in the center of the map. And from then, if Wham is able to stabilize the center with a keep, I feel like the game gets really hard.
It doesn't become much simpler for someone who needs to actually start sieging down, especially when you're up against a majority of sofas. Sofas handle siege so well because they are just difficult to kill, especially with the units that he's decided to make. Now these horse archers, now we see them. They are like a fish out of water. They don't have anywhere to raid right now. And I think that's probably what we're seeing here with CSO. He's like, okay, I'm supposed to use these actively. And he is, but the problem is, in a situation like this, your trades are not going to be going too well. So it requires a lot more micro for you to manage these correctly. Horse archers now taking a little bit of an engagement, not that they want to. Knights trying to soak up some damage. Horse archers are trying to flank just fight constantly. But they are struggling, as the sofas do have a lot of armor. And the poison archers are destroying these knights too.
Yeah, it's a really solid composition from Wham here. It's a really solid answer, and I just don't see CSO winning any of these fights large enough to ever get map control back, and Sacred Sites are counting down. And Wham's just been soaking up a lot of the minerals in the center, so the stone and gold in the middle, and we could see he has 900 stone now, could place a keep. I think it'd be another keep situation. I believe he already placed a keep somewhere, I'm not sure.
Find him.
Or he invested a lot of stone into something. He had 900 stone before, and it's been weirdly gone.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. There's one there, and he's building another one on the other Sacred Site now. Yeah, there it is.
Disgusting.
Yeah, so that's 2 keeps to lock down the center of the map. Next would be maybe the implant mark, but we'll see. Fort of the Huntress, maybe. Not quite there yet.
He's getting close. You can see with the amount of units he's not making with those resources. He has a similar idea. He's listening to Winston give him all these great ideas, and he's like, oh, hello. So getting that Fort of the Huntress is going to mean that he can be the one raiding as well. It's just giving you so much control. You then have control of these golds, which is such a big thing to have as Malians, even though he probably is pretty happy with this passive income. We can see 1 on gold over here, not rushing towards anything. But university upgrades do get expensive. CSO just, it doesn't feel like he's got anything he's working towards, like we said. He's getting farms. He has some food income now, but it just will not be able to match up against an Imperial Age army that he's about to face. And especially with the Sacred Site timer ticking at 6 minutes, he's going to be fighting a very scary fight. Rus just doesn't have an answer this quickly for something that powerful. We do see him making a counterweight trebuchet now, and trebuchets are great, but usually when they are supported by a pretty good front line, and 10 knights are not going to be enough of a front line against this army.
Yeah, it's a surprising situation. I love the Mangonel edition, especially when your opponent is sitting on 60 archers, right? It can be pretty solid, but like you said, the sofas, what's really stopping them from diving in? It feels like in order to protect these Mangonels, CSO is going to have to sack most of his army, and I'm a little scared for that because if Wham has good good splits on his archer mass, and he's still able to get a lot of DPS onto that front line, like you said, the knights melting under this poison arrow comp, things could get dicey here, and CSO looks to poke in, but there's the Imperial Age from Wham. He's got plenty of gold in the bank, so what's the first upgrade? It's actually going to be a Bombard, interestingly. That's going to help him deal with that Mangonel a little more efficiently. We have emplacements as well, so nothing too alarming just yet. Keep in mind, his infantry mass, those archers are now actually invisible under that Fort of the Huntress. So it's actually quite dicey to try and engage under them. Things are spicy.
He doesn't know what he's about to face, and that's the power of the Huntress, right? You get to this point, and I just want to point out, Wham is the first player in 2 weeks that I've seen making boiling oil. We've been waiting for a boiling oil boy to come out, and we finally have one. Everybody seems to think boiling oil is overrated, but I can definitely see the value in it here, because when they get close, they get a lot of surprises, right? So more archers in the army, and he is doubling down on that archer number. 4 minutes on the clock though, and it's starting to get dicier and dicier as it ticks. Now this has a bombard emplacement to try and manage anything that tries to dive, but let's see what the bombard is going to be able to snack on. CSO probably wants to get rid of this pretty quickly though.
Yeah, interesting. We got the repairs coming in. I wonder if he has the repair tech from the Malian TC. Bonko. Could be nice here. But yeah, this is interesting. The army, the bombard rolling forward, gonna have to back up. There's a lot of units on the front there, but the cannon emplacement is in. Like you said, boiling oil is in. We have precision coming in as well for just the javelins as well. This is getting dicey. Chance to retreat. The archers as well gonna get buffed. I mean, CSO has a lot of mass, right? He's got a lot of stuff, a lot of HP.
Does, but those Mangonels have not had a chance to shoot anything just yet. We see the bombard being protected by the lives of this army. Villagers at the back here trying to defend everything they can. The Mangonels not getting a single shot off yet, and they're getting in range of the keep now. They're trying to get, oh, they get the bombard, but let's see if they're going to have the opportunity to actually land on top of these archers. It does look pretty scary.
The Mangonels are alive.
They are, but for how long? The sofas are now on top of them. The villagers are standing at the front with their shivs out, trying to fight a good fight, but the horse archers, the DPS, just isn't enough for now. These are elite archers. They've got poison arrows up against elite sofas as well, and even though they will go down, the mass is just a little bit too scary, and he agrees. He says, I had enough.
Yeah, that imp timing was just so good. A lot of that seemed to stem from the mid game. You know, I think we've seen a lot of players try and really contest Prof Scouts a lot, and I think it shows that Prof Scouts is still a very strong and potent strategy, but you don't have to go for it, right? I think we've seen that meta since the nerfs, right? Obviously, like that's not like new news really, but I think this just shows that like even with civs that you think need to go Prof Scouts to be successful, I think Wham is showing that you can do quite a lot still. The game is still pretty open in terms of how you scale your eco. The traditional cow boom was clutch here for Wham.
And what I actually love to see is the fact that the resources gathered stayed pretty even for a lot of the game. Yeah, and the fact of the matter, see, there's a difference, but it's not enough to make a Reddit thread about. So I do like this from Wham. I can definitely see how Rus can keep up with that economy from Malians. It just felt like Wham, he knew how to play against what CsOH wanted to go for. Okay, let's hop on back to the lobby.
Goat, sheep. I keep calling it a goat. It's like a goat, you'd think, but it's not. It's a sheep. I don't know why.
In South Africa, we grow up among them. So if you have a friend, they have goats and they have sheep on their
I see.
yard somewhere. I guess that's not the case
Okay.
in the US, right? Nobody has like a sheep in their backyard.
People do. No, people
Oh, they
do. It's not
do?
as common, probably.
Okay.
In rural areas, sure, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Maybe
Well,
not a sheep. No, maybe not goats.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
In
I
Serbia,
don't
they
know.
eat
I don't
goat.
know every yard in the U.S. You know.
Right. When I moved here,
Sorry.
I found out that they eat goats. And how did I find it out? Well, I had a meal. And at that meal, Beastie was like, "Oh, are you liking the meat?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is the best lamb I've ever had." Super excited about me getting good soft sheep, and I found out it was a goat. I felt so traumatized because goats, yes, I don't know, Serbia, it's wild. Winston, you don't eat meat, right?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay,
That's
so
how
that
do you
just
remember that?
sounded
That's
awful.
crazy.
I am so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. How do you remember that? I feel like how like what? Okay.
It's the
Anyway, next
autism. It's
game.
actually the autism.
Fair enough. You know.
Okay.
However, that's impressive. Wham. Okay, he's got Chinese on CSO against Mongols. Sorry, I'm just kind of blinders on. You know, focus. The goat story. It kept going.
This
You gotta focus. We're putting on a show.
we're
Wham.
putting on
You
a
gotta-
show, but Mongols on this map. We saw something crazy yesterday. Do you know what I saw yesterday with Mongols on
What
this
did you
map?
see yesterday with
Fast
Mongols?
Imperial on this map.
Cognate?
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
I mean,
that's not
Cognate is
crazy.
still insane.
Yes.
Right.
But on this
But on
map,
this map,
yes. So
that's impressive. Was
yeah,
the water just not contested?
it
What map
was
game is this?
it was just split up pretty evenly. There was some congestion, but there was also a lot of allowances, I would say. But the Cognate definitely did its work. I don't think CSO is the kind of player who would allow that though, because we do have China, and China is really good in Castle Age, especially. So allowing your opponent to get to Imperial, I don't think he would be doing that, right?
Ah, I'm trying to think about how you'd play China on this, on how people have played China's on this map for a while, and yeah, no, I think you hit a timing a little bit before that. It could be spooky if you play it wrong, maybe, right? Like if you just go a little too greedy or slow, I think you could get caught off guard by this. It does make sense, right? Because if you're in a position where you feel like you're just defending and you feel like you have enough to defend, but you feel like your economy is scaling well, like you have like maybe 2TC song, fish boom, right? Like why go attack? Why go aggressive? Because you feel like you have the win condition already. But yeah, if Cognate ends up becoming a win condition against that, I'm trying to think if it does. And it might. It might.
Well, we're
I
getting
don't know. We're gonna find out.
yeah, the thing is, I think a lot of what we haven't seen is China on this map. A lot of the other civilizations have been performing a little better, and I think China is just one of those civilizations that you have so many cards that you can pull that people have been saving it for other maps as well. But we'll see what the boys are cooking, and ladies and gents, let's hop on in to our game.
I'm excited. That's a sheep for sure. I know that. Sorry. I had to bring it up again. All right, so Wham, we got Mongols on the left side and CSO on the top right in the Chinese.
Now, both of
The
these
yellow
players,
shirts.
them yellow shirts are gonna carry all of them wood to build them docks at the water side. He spots that deep sea fish pretty easily. Very nicely placed. Okay, that was my casting for the dock. Now this bad boy though, he's also looking to place a dock right in front of the deep water fish as well. Wonderful placement. We're gonna love seeing that income coming in hot. But boys, let's go look at what this Khan is going to check out and what he wants to see.
The TC, if he's not careful. No, obviously Wham's going to be paying attention. Oh man, nothing feels worse than running your scout into the enemy's TC really early on with like 3 sheep, and you haven't really explored the map. It happens. It happens to the best of us sometimes. You're just not. You got to stay sharp, and Wham staying sharp, not losing his TC, his scout to a TC, as
And
you'd expect from a professional.
yeah, well, we have seen some professionals losing scouts to it, and it was quite wonderful to see even these top players making human mistakes. I just want to also point out both of these scouts did see where that dock is placed, so both of them will know exactly where they need to be cooking and what they need to be aware of. Now, sheep numbers don't matter as much on this map, so... But I would still would like to be yellow in this case. China is going to be very happy with that amount of sheep.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Indeed. Although, you know, the Khan grabbing some extra ones on the way back. It's exciting. Oh, he missed 2! Wham blind?
Ooh. In this day and age, the Khan had one vision, and the vision is thinking about that Cognate Palace. He is like, okay, I'm not going to worry about the sheep tomorrow. I need to think about what does this palace mean to me. Running a little bit back now, we see that 2 of these scouts are in close proximity as well. We are going to go pick up those sheep we left behind.
Who gets them?
At least one of them.
Nice. Wait, it's to the right. Oh no, that sheep.
Not hungry enough.
Playing hard. He's playing hard to get.
Now, he does go back to the TC, just wants to check, hey, is this TC still working? But the information that he actually gets from this, guys, is he gets to see, hello, gold.
Not on that gold.
Not on the gold yet. Still very happily elsewhere. Onto the woodline, of course. So, now, Wham is on gold already. He knows he's going to be able to probably match the age up, because with China, oh, actually, I was gonna say, he doesn't have an imperial official. Never mind. Oh, never mind. There we go. There's an imperial official. He's decided to invest. So with this, he's probably not going to be that far behind starting the age up, but with China build speeds, it's going to be pretty quick. Now, the Khan is super annoying at this point of the game, and we actually saw this yesterday as well. Just with the Khan, you're getting those villages ready for a good old raid. So, definitely a lot of value that early in the game.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that CsOH's timing here on the gold is going to be quite late. Obviously, he's running a practice build order, so he just got that first stack of 40 gold from the lumber camp, but at this rate, it is quite slow to not be on the gold at all, and to not have the mill. But, like, it makes sense. Like, this is how you play. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong, but the timing feels a little late. But I'm not sure. Guess you just age up fast, and you'll be fine.
And
everything's fine. This is fine.
Now, with China, what possibilities do you foresee in a situation like this? Because China is not a civilization that I get to see this much on the map, obviously. Do we just get some water aggression, some denial? Because that's what China is known for, being able to punish on water. Mongols, on the other hand, they have a lot more to offer, at least on land. So I'm a little bit concerned for CsO if he allows himself to get raided here, because this woodline is very small and very easy to harass from the sides. This is something we saw a little bit when Order of the Dragon was on this map yesterday. So basically, because of the small woodlines, it's very easy to park your units here and get raided constantly. So, I was going to say Imperial Academies.
Imperial Academy.
Pretty standard, but I would not be surprised if he does end up going for a Barbican to just ensure that he can stay on that water. But look at this Wham. He's the aggressor today.
Yeah, it seems like 9 vills, though, on the age up with China is going to be the solution for this build. So it's just, that's how you're going to have an equal timing, if not slightly faster, it looks like. And that's going to mean that Wham might have been thinking he's getting a slightly better timing, but not quite. So that's going to mean that CsO is going to have a very minimal advantage into defending if he is going to train a ship right away, but he's actually missing some resources to train a ship. He does have the double dock, though, which means he'll be much more likely to be able to hold this pond with only 1 dock from the opponent. But it is going to mean he has to invest a lot into winning that, and the arrow slit's going to be the opening for Mongols. It's always quite annoying. They get the Uvu going early, right? So you just have pretty easy access to these arrow slits, and it can be tricky to deal with. It's going to force these fish boats off the easy deep fish.
So usually with Mongols, I know a lot of people would wonder what is the plan here, and for a lot of us, I think I learned yesterday, the whole point of putting a dock down is just to get the arrow slits, because it's so simple to do. Now, being able to do damage to the war junk here, he's not necessarily going to be able to kill it instantly, but that could have been very dire. Ooh.
Did he manually delete?
No, no,
I
no.
think he manually.
Really?
I guess maybe he clicked on the fishing boat.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
That could have
Could
been
be
it.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Now,
that seemed odd. That seemed early. I don't know, a little premature, if you're asking me. I don't know.
now,
Maybe.
it doesn't look like he's going to invest too much more into this as he is on
Yeah.
his own water. Now, there's no counter-aggression here from China. We can see CSO just going for his second leg here. I'm going to be able to do so. I do see a tiny dot here, and that's the Mangudai, and that's what I was talking about, guys. That is the force that CSO has to fight against, because the wood line is getting more and more exposed, and he's aware of this. He's getting the archers in position to not be punished too hard, but Mangudai, they are tough to handle, even with a few archers.
Yeah, you have the Con Hunter as well in there, in the mix, just to try and, like, spice up the attack. Make it a little more noticeable, right? You get a little bit more range, you can outrange. Well, not outrange the archers, but just gives you a little more flexibility on the attack. We'll see how this goes, though. It's going to be kind of tricky. The Con will tank a lot of arrows early on, but once the focus fire comes in from CSO, things will get tricky. Not a lot of Mangudai. It's almost like in both cases, he's just trying to do a little bit of something to force this very light reaction. Just 3 Mangudai. He's not training more.
And every small reaction he gets out of CSO, that is going to result in him investing and delaying everything that could be damaging for Wham. So now he's got a pretty scary mass here. Even though it's just a tiny, tiny speck of them, it's going to force CSO to either have to just make more units or find some static defense here. Because these villagers are just going to keep having to focus. And now we see the barracks getting a spearman in here as well. Village being built at the top. Gonna make for some easy garrison slots, but still not solving the problem of the raids. Luckily, Wham is solving his own problems of the raids by moving them away from the wood line and going to put some pressure onto the gold. Now, he doesn't go for the second pond either. He looks straight at going castle. We'll see if there's going to be more to it, though.
Yeah, the castle age. I'm getting excited. I almost want to see the cog in it as well now. You got me all hyped up for it. But yeah, CSO just staying on top of the raids, making sure he doesn't lose too many vills here. His economy is scaling quite well. He's added that second dock onto the right pond on the east. And we'll see now the con just putting out the enemy vills, but seeing that CSO is prepared. I'm not seeing how this plays out in the short term for Wham if he goes for something more aggressive behind the castle age, or is he really just going to save up here? He's got a lot of fishing boats, like a lot of fishing boats.
Now,
on that, go further left. There's quite a lot there.
I could. The problem with all these fishing boats is if they start to overfish, the food economy does go down significantly, but it does look like he'll be okay with the 4 deep sea fish, and this one is all the way in China. He's gonna be all right. Now, the thing is, he is getting his step readout here, and with the villager, and this is why we're not looking at income per minute right now. We can see there's a lot, and I know most of these are fishing boats, but it doesn't feel like he's going towards units here. And CSO, I feel like it's going to take a while to catch up to this. He now got wheelbarrow as well, but he is going to take a while to get to that type of resources to respond. But it seems like Wham is going straight for Imperial. No units in queue. He's got one thing on his mind, and it's more gold, actually. And enforcements, emplacements, wow.
Yeah, I mean, you have the stone, might as well, right? If he's not going to be spending it on anything else, it's better to spend it now and make sure you're safe. But CSO, this is almost exactly what I was talking about from CSO's perspective. He's kind of like, I've got the double fish boom. I'm scaling my economy. What can I really be scared of, right? So he's not playing aggressive at all. And here's a really nice raid coming in, getting a Vil kill for that. Maybe even a second. That feels really free. Like, it's something that definitely CSO's thinking should not have happened from his perspective, right? He has the military to deny this. So he's probably feeling a little frustrated that he just had to idle all of his wood like that.
And that just shows what mobility does. The fact that he has this mobile little army is just ensuring that CSO needs to react. And now he's getting men-at-arms too. And I want you guys to notice, men-at-arms are fine. But men-at-arms against an army that is not prepared for them. Ooh, he is gonna have a little bit of trouble. Wham now almost ready to click up to Imperial, and he's already getting some outposts around the TC to try and get ready for that initial push that will come out of China the moment he does click it up. But we do see a Lancer being queued up too. And with a Lancer, he's going to be able to do some raiding of his own, get some of his own information here. Lancer now going straight for it. They do need to be careful. The charge will go off.
I think we still have Moose Speed Arrow, or it might still be on cooldown, actually. I know he could just sprint away, but yeah, this is looking dicey. I don't know. I think CSO is going to be a little surprised by this. Maybe he's seen this in practice games, so he's aware of the potential here, and his confidence in this stage is that he knows what to deal with it. Like, he knows how to handle this. Maybe it is the Lancers.
And the problem is,
I'm not sure.
This isn't a Song Dynasty, though. He's not getting ahead economically. He is ahead because of this little lake here. But it's not fully saturated. It's not something that he's actively pursuing, in a way. And now, slowly, Wham will be doing the same. So it does feel like there is a timing that I feel like he may have already missed. But we'll see if that is going to be the case, because, oh my goodness, that's a lot of Lancers, and all of a sudden things look scary.
Yeah, it's a lot of units on the field now, and you're up, and you're getting the Hui to start. You know, it is a bit of a lottery what you're going to get, and he is not in the position to need the Hui. He was probably hoping for, you know, Lancers or Mangadai or just kind of anything other than the Hui. But he's getting Hui. So that's going to sit. I've made this landmark before in pretty competitive games, and it's like, when you do get this situation, you're just kind of sad because the Hui is going to sit in your base for the next like 10, maybe 15 minutes, right? Because you really have to like kind of wrestle control with all the free units. It's kind of, it takes time, right? It just takes time. Let's see. Do you think he'll get double Hui?
No, he's not getting
no,
double
it's happened.
He's getting warrior monks. Winston, he's getting warrior monks. He has to.
That'd be kind of nice. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah, because he can heal his army.
I've been double Hui in the past.
Oh.
Okay, Mangadai is good. Mangadai is good. Oh, that's a horse archer's even. That's still
just as good. Yeah. That's definitely a good spot to be in. We can see a few more towers coming up here. He just wants to keep those vills alive. And that means that CSO will not be catching him out. But the problem is, Wham doesn't have a lot of gold right now. He doesn't even have any for upgrades. So he probably, he knows how important this is going on to this one. But with CSO not seeing him on that gold, he has to ask himself, where are you getting those resources? And we'll find out if he's going to be able to do something about this. We're going to be switching back to income per minute now, so we can see what he's cooking. But Wham is about to get whammed. And I don't know if the 2 whams are going to be enough.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky, right? Like, and I think this is why CSO was kind of playing very chill early on. Was maybe he just felt that he could handle the cog in it, right? And looks like Nest of Bees is the next one, which is actually quite good against the Archer Mass here. So Nest of Bees is solid. So Wham's getting some good options, some good rolls from the cog in it. Oh, and this Uvuville will finish the Uvu bravely and then run away from the wolf, but no, down he goes. Fish in hand, the wolf stands victorious. Oh man, that was kind of funny. And now the Rams come in. They're going to take out these Springald Towers pretty easily. The Springald Towers can't run, but everything else has. The Steppered Out has relocated to the gold in the south, which I'd be really surprised if CSO doesn't see this, and that could just be the end of the game. He's built a oh, that's so smart. He built a transport ship in that pond. So if the Vills do get spotted, he can just hide and let the Bauschwan do the talking, the Bauchad. That's really smart. That's really, really smart.
And behind this, also just getting more fishing ships, because now he can start scaling that economy. We have our horse archers actually doing work here. The towers doing amazing against these. Nest of Bees doing everything a woman could dream of, just making sure the enemy explodes, of course. Those are goals, right? So with these guys, he's just able to, you know, keep his opponent on his toes. And this is good, because you're delaying your opponent's army from reaching your base. And CSO, though.
Double Hui.
Oh, sorry. No. Another
Hui.
You know, Hui.
Well, it's going to be useful later. Right?
Yes.
Like, it's not useless all the game. It's just not the tempo you're looking for when you go this landmark. But we'll see. Oh, boy.
He's trying to give himself the time. Just getting a few lances to go all the way back here delays the push, but another Wham is coming out, and Wham is going to struggle against this, at least for now. We'll see what's after the Hui Hui Pao, but he needs to get a little bit more meat on these bones. And it does look like this forward one will be in danger. We do have one that's very reinforced that he probably is going to try to focus down, but the hand cannoneers, even just 2 of them, is already going to make this a little bit easier alongside those crossbows.
Oh, the nest of bees landed a beautiful shot there. The Rams, are they going to be enough? One tower does go down, needs to take out these cannon outposts. Well, he can. He's taking a big risk here. I feel like CSO is going for this dive, but maybe feeling like he has the economy to keep supporting this military push, and the Rams getting a little bit of value here, but a lot of yellow bodies on the field here, right? Like a lot of yellow shirts on the ground. Wham might be feeling okay with that. The Hui Hui setting up to just lob some rocks uselessly at the enemies.
Now, those rocks, when they do hit quite hard. It's just not the type of pain you would imagine. Although, we do get more horse archers. Now, guys, a nice little army of horse archers. He's well trained. He's already made Mangadai before this. So, he's ready for this. Villagers are migrating to the other side. If those boys are going to go dock, yes, they are. Bao is pushing them back. They are not able to go onto the water. And the step will be safe yet again because the Bao 2 of them now, shooting rockets.
Yeah, it's a nice defense, and I just gotta add again, I love that transport ad from Wham. Like, I think that's so it's so smart. You're on the gold. If you're gonna get raided, you don't have anything nearby. Just running into the transport and hoping they all live is a really heads-up idea. But we'll see. Does his dock get spotted? There's like another dock going up from... Oh, yeah, it's going to get blocked a little bit, so I'm going to have to put it in a different spot, but now it's not going to be a surprise. A Bao could come out first for CSO to defend that position. Or not a Bao, sorry, just a Hulk maybe. Or Galley. We'll see something.
If he notices, let's see. Oh, he does notice. He notices. He knows.
He sees. But he's not Imp, so like, he's still going to struggle with the Bao. He's going to need to bring a lot of units. Like a lot of ships. He's gonna, he's queuing up a Hulk in a demo, so he's gonna have options to just boom. Just go boom.
And with these Rams, he's trying to now, I would say CSO is trying to keep Wham in his base so that he can go and get that age up. Now, China in Imperial, we've all played against this. We've all felt this pain. The thing is just, I don't know how well China does in Imperial against Hui Hui Paos. Because China's strength is their ability to just sit back, overtake you with nest of bees, and get the Great Wall Gatehouse to also keep your army at bay, if needed, especially keeping your farms safe, which there's none of, no need, at least. But the gold will eventually run out, and I feel like the units that Wham already has, China doesn't get that usual map control that they do when they hit Imperial. Now, let's see what CSO is going to be aging up with.
I'm imagining it's Great Wall just to hold the middle, but like you said, the Hui Huis are going to make really short work of that. So CSO has to be very, very careful where he's going to place this, and it's going to be the Spirit Way in the back. So looking to get a bit of healing maybe on some of these units, but he's not actually making any Dynasty units. So this might just be Imp for the sake of Imp, right? Like, what unit is he going to make that's going to benefit from the healing here?
He's got some Lancers that are going to go for a side raid, but we do have some villagers running around. The thing is, those Vills, they're going to go over here for a stone, but it might not be a sneaky play like this. We do see the H-up coming through, and now see what upgrades get prioritized, and elite ones.
Fire Lancers.
No?
Is that Fire Lancers? That's crazy.
Just...
Oh, Knights or Lancers. Sorry, I just saw the last word Lancers. I was like, "There's no way." Right? He's not even Yuan. He's not Yuan. He can't even get them.
He is yoinking. He's
Yoinked.
got a successful yoink from the... And now with the Lancers, they are gonna have their upgrades, but still, you don't want to be fighting into spears, especially when they're elite as well. And the army from Wham is so scary. I just don't know if CSO has the opportunity to make something out of this. He's out here on a gold because he knows this is very limited. And the Hui Hui Paos actually being caught out.
Hui Huis! Kill the Hui Huis! Get the Hui Huis! That's a huge loss because that actually is one of the ways Now CSO's probably kind of like, oh, why didn't I just build the Great Wall Gatehouse if I'm just gonna kill the Huiwis like that, right? Like, it kind of really opens up options for him now. He can build a keep in the front to actually defend and maybe move his military out. But yeah, just the Elite Knight is going to be the play here for a bit. 5 Nested Bees going to help pack that punch onto the main forces of Wham, which is mostly crossbow spear. So he's really equipped to deal with the Knights, but is he equipped to deal with this the Nested Bees? I'm not really sure. A 6-1 on the way even.
Now, with the amount of nested bees on Wham's side, he probably is happy, but could
Oh,
use a few more. They are looking for a target, but they're just
they're
inching
jiggling.
forward. And he jiggles.
They're jiggling. Yeah, they were doing a little dance, a little hoedown, a little dance going.
And he
Sorry.
does.
The
he
keep
does,
goes up.
Yeah, this is so important for him to get. If he gets this keep up, he's got access to a little bit of gold. We know how China does. They are okay if they get denied from a little bit of gold.
Oh.
But decent connection here from them. Also, archers now.
A lot of Nested Bees.
They're about to be hit, and that's good damage on the other side, though.
Wait, but the army CSO is okay. No, I thought he was just running his knights away. That's a lot of value from those Nested Bees already from CSO's side, but things are tricky. Look at the just sheer amount of military on the field for Wham right now. He's got 104 mil pop. Some of that is in the bow chads, right? But that is crazy.
And CSO is able to clean up a little bit of a raid here, but you can see this front line, he's looking for something to actually siege down, and because of those bow chats, he just doesn't have anything right now. The bow chats going down actually being a significant loss here. We see, Mangudai. Mangudai still causing trouble.
Once again. That one woodline. You were right. You called it at the start. You're like, Mangudai in this woodline is going to be tricky, and no keep to actually defend the wood means that, I mean, at this point, I think CSO can just go elsewhere for wood. He doesn't need to be in his base. Like, there's this location, right? There's other spots he could be. But yeah, interesting. Like, we're still in the Tang Dynasty. CSO just trying to make do with knights and knobs, and is it going to be enough? The fight comes in. The knights are going to... Not much of a front line here. 3 Nested Bees look like they're going to go down really quickly. The unit's just taking the engagement. Wham with 30 spears, 30 crossbows, looking to take the fight, looking to take the game. That's going to be a decisive battle victory, but can he win behind this? Yeah, obviously. The CSO, that's the game.
That was
Wham
just...
looking strong.
It was an overextension, poor guy, and that's just what Wham did. Wham forced him to move out of his base. And it's just that ticking time bomb. CSO hoping to have a front line for those Nested Bees. You could see that panic charge at that point to try and get back from this. But the Cognate Palace, honestly, raining hell down upon 4 lakes. And we are just seeing a constant dominance with Mongols. But to be fair, there's a lot more to it. The players have just done an amazing job at doing or keeping that level of control on this map. So, very well played here by Wham. I'm a little bit scared here for CSO, because this now means that Wham is up 2-0. And I don't know if CSO has the ability to demotivate Wham from this streak already. Because yesterday, he ended his games on a 3-0 as well. So, CSO, he's got his work cut out for him, especially with him losing 2 games in a row to Wham. I think Wham is going to feel very comfortable with this.
Yeah, he's got a really nice buffer, and he still has Xuxi, right? He still has Lancaster, right? Like, doesn't he still have 2 of his early picks available? So I think he's going to be feeling comfortable enough to pick a Ubids. Wow.
I was going to say...
I mean, I'm not super shocked, but it's just interesting, yeah.
I love how you pointed out the strong civs he has left, and he's like, actually, I've also got Aeobits. And what we've seen from Aeobits, Winston, is a lot of Lancers. A lot of Lancers. So, getting Aeobits definitely feels good, but Lancers, and we've also seen clean camel compositions as well. So... yes, I honestly am a little bit scared here for Miss JD, because JD, she doesn't do too hot against the camels, right? Unless she can shut them down pretty early on.
Yeah, camels are one of her main foes, I feel like, right? It's a challenging space to exist in when they're tall, right? Camels are tall. They have the big humps. It's a lot to handle. And it's scary. I don't know. I wouldn't want to fight a camel. It's scary. So yeah, no, she struggles with that sometimes. I think Yeah, we could see both the Lancers or even just Desert Raider plays. We've seen a lot of that as well. I'd be curious to see what it ends up being. I'm trying to think about how the rest of the draft is going to go for CSO. I guess I understand the JD pick here. It makes sense. Maybe
The
Delhi.
When I saw
Nah,
Delhi
I
in
think
the
it's fine.
pick, I actually was a little bit. I was wondering about Delhi because Delhi has been
Mhm,
showing a lot of power, especially when you get to elephants. But you have to get
mhm.
there, right? And I feel like
Yep.
Wham has just shown us he's got this aggressive side to him that he won't let you have that control. But looking at the maps that are
Mhm,
left, Dry
mhm.
Arabia, it's still on the cards here. So it's going to be a map that you have the civilizations for, even though even things like Japan get played on Dry Arabia now. But guys, we're ready to head on in. So let's go
Let's
and look
dive
at
in.
the Baldland and our two Chads taking us for it.
Sheep. Sorry, I'm gonna say that every time now, I think. So we got Wham and CSO once again matching up. We got CSO on the left side in JD with the red pieces, and Wham on the right side with the Ubits in the blue. Very exciting stuff. Very,
Yeah.
very exciting stuff.
And we get to see a 160 FPS and 130 FPS screen showing us those high quality sheep getting picked up. And this is pretty a good spot for us to see what the early game could potentially look like. Now, when you are on bald land, you always think about the wood.
Mhm.
You know, it's in the name. The map is pretty bald. There's not a lot of hair growing out of the ground. There's enough grass, but just not enough trees for these people. So farm transitions become a little bit harder. Staying safe in your base becomes a lot harder. But we'll see if there are any pro scout shenanigans between these two, because JD and Aobits, both of them, they do require a lot of food to keep going.
Yeah, I mean a lot could happen here. I'm kind of curious. We have seen prop scouts on this map a few times. We've also seen some players opting. It's not really a map where you can push easily because you don't have like the close steer, so you don't see the spear openings like really much on this map, at least from what I can tell in the tournament games, right? Yeah, so I'd be curious to see how this like plays out. Um, the Ubins though, just trying to think about like what the natural play for Wham is here. If he tries to FC or not. That's kind of my question. I don't know if you want to against JD, right?
Because
Maybe he does though.
you do have a pretty good feudal age as well. So that's usually the key here too. So you have a good feudal age against the knights. Because of your camels, you get to kite them pretty well. I'm not saying perfectly, but it does make it a little bit simpler to do. But it depends on the age up, right? Yesterday we saw a lot of choices here. And what I really love to see is that we got Master Smiths for one of the ages into Castle to just take those
Really?
fights. Yes, just take the fights a little bit
Right.
smoother. But
I'm surprised.
yeah, we were too. And that's where my question now lies. Is this something that you go for economic wing to just get those three villages to stay ahead of John? Or is it a case where you just get your military wing? But this is not something we've seen in a while. We saw it a few times yesterday, but the dervishes have been the logical choice for a while because even when JD comes to harass, you've got something to heal up those vills. So I think Wham has some answers, and I don't think there's a really bad choice to make. So apparently, I was about to say, oh my goodness, what did
So
I
just say,
just
was
do?
that?
What did I do?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you just like caught us all by yeah. The dervishes have been one of the more common openings, right? And then you can like do something else, like maybe military or eco into Castle Age, right? Leaves it. It makes it kind of just works for you no matter what, because you want the dervishes to grab the relics, right? Um, you don't need to go castle with it though in order to do that. So it kind of lets you get the stronger bonus later, and you get enough dervishes to contest relics, right? But we'll see how this pans.
Yeah, I
The,
do
the
want
relics
to
are
take.
kind of hard. There's two really nice ones for Wham.
Now, I do think that CSO needs to put this aggression pretty early on Wham, because Wham, I feel like if you give him a little bit of space, he just runs away with it. And yes, this is the map to do so, because the wood lines are so far away from the TC, so you are pretty easily going to find an opening to do some damage, and that's usually where the difference comes in. Yes, you're going to have these dervishes to heal up, but you're going to need to find a way to actually get resources to make units. Now, CSO hitting the Castle Age. Oh, Castle Age. Feudal Age. Pretty fast, but instantly going for a scout. And this is not going to be aggressive playstyle too early on. He's going straight for pro scouts. Disgusting.
Yeah, the dervishes is interesting. Makes sense. Yeah, no, yeah, prof scouts though. There's a lot of deer here to grab, to be had, so it makes sense. Just wondering if it is maybe a little too slow for CSO. If he takes too long on this, but with Wham not having a single unit on the field, it means that CSO doesn't need to defend these, right? You can just have like maybe 3 or 4 going, and then still try and age up behind this. Or just start getting night production going, right? Like, I almost wonder if this is a game where you don't want to go 7 scouts, right? Like, I just don't know if it's necessary here. And the dervishes here, they can't pick up the relics yet, but they can do a couple other things. They can scout, they can look around, they can push deer kind of poorly, right? But it still works.
And that looks like the goal is... Yeah, exactly. They're going to try to put these boys under the TC. And even denying 3 of these is going to be important, because right now he's just going to be able to pick up every amount of deer as he would want. We do see a ranged JD, which is usually pretty simple to see with Aeobits especially. But now with the re-macroing, we can check that he is going to go for fast castle. So when you don't have that pure fear of a knight, you just get to sit back and relax. And I don't know if this is a safe play for CSO to do, because with that knight presence, yes, you delay your pro scouts, but you force your opponent to invest so many resources into building a production building and actually having to do this. But luckily, Wham already invested these anyway.
Yeah, that little cute wall off, and he's going to see the prof scouts coming in. It's not really a surprise here against JD. Interesting stuff, though. It's interesting with the one knight. Is CSO not going to produce more? No, he's queuing up 2 more scouts. Okay, so he just wants to, seeing that there's no military on the field, right? He's just investing heavily into the scouts now. He's just saying, okay, as long as you're not having military, I'm just going to make a ton of scouts and try and get all the deer here. And it's an interesting play. I don't know if he needs to rush the deer in, though. I mean, maybe he does.
It is a ticking time bomb. The thing is, it depends what comes out of this, right? And I hate to say this, but yesterday... No. Nothing crazy like that. But yesterday we also did
Bazaar.
Yes, but we actually did see an Imperial Age Bazaar, by the way. So
industry. No, I'll stop. Sorry.
All of the above. All of the above. Let's wait so we don't ruin it. Guys, this is going to be one of those things I do not want to curse. He goes for economic wing. See, we saw this against a few people.
Wasn't it against Wham?
It might have been. Yes.
Wasn't maybe he's learned from it.
Yes, but Scatterbrain
was a bastard, right?
Maybe. Yes. That could be the case. Oh yes, and just overwhelmed him completely with the amount of units from his side. Yeah. But now he does 2 knights on the field, and this might make a difference in picking up these relics, right? He does have scouts. He knows exactly where everything is, and he probably knows where those dervishes are going to try to pick up. JD is looking for some damage, though, and she's got an arrow locked and loaded. We can see 3 of them standing at the ready. The dervish being in the zone, ready to heal up as well. So, very good placement here by Wham. He's aware.
Wham aware indeed. Yeah, it's nice. And a couple nights now on the field. CSO's economic wing, though, isn't going to give him immediate mill tempo. That is something pretty notable. What production building are we going to see? Probably stables, right?
Yes.
Make him answer.
Yeah, and the moment he gets those...
I mean, not probably. It's going to be what gets built, right? But like, when, where? Like, it's the time. It feels like CSO's getting a lot of map, and he's just going to have a lot of units. Like 4 or 5 like feudal knights are going to handle a couple camo lancers, right? So the timing could just be a situation where if Wham takes a bad fight early on, he could just find himself totally trapped in his base for the next, 5 minutes, right?
And he's not
We'll
in a
see.
situation where he's got food on his side. He's got a little bit of berries here at the back. But again, knights do find their way in if things get to that point. So he does need to be careful with that amount of time he expects to have in this. Now, we do see the little outpost here going to be able to protect something. But JD, she's looking for blood. The thing is, if you're going to Fast Castle, usually you want to have your dervishes in position, and it does look like we're going to have one here too. He does pick it up, bring it home, and apparently dervish healing is going to... Let's see if it sustains. We've got another one coming back to base, but at the same time, we have the rest of JD's army also joining here. But the dervish makes it out.
Wow.
Winston.
Oh, wait, no. He might just try and dive. Ooh, wow.
That was wild. That's a lot of healing.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot more than I thought. Yeah, interesting. Interesting stuff. I mean, the dervishes are strong. I mean, we want to make sure that everyone can play, like, all these landmarks, right? You should be able to do a lot of different things, and that's kind of all he got from the feudal landmark was this, right? He still has to build the monastery, or the mosque, sorry. So, what's going on for him to really get that value still? The knights, just maybe with 2 knights or 3 knights, he can help deny those a little better. But behind all of this, right, like, CSO is still just kind of getting all the deer completely uncontested, right? And he stopped at 8 scouts here. Makes a ton of sense, right? Like, now that there's units on the field, I think he's got the timing almost perfect, right? Like, I don't think Wham is going to really be able to leave his base. And then by the time he does, all the deer are gone. Sorry, I keep fumbling over my words.
See, that is the one thing I'm afraid of as well. No. Winston, you speak perfect English. You don't need to worry about it.
Sometimes.
With the amount of deer that he has, this is going to be CSO's sit back and relax game. He doesn't, at least for now, he's going to be okay with just producing. But I feel like Aobeds is nearing that point where we are depleting what is under here. And yes, CSO could take a few bad trades, and he still might be okay with replacing that army. But Wham needs to think about that too. We can then see now going to the back berries as well. And protecting the relics here. Dervish will go down as he runs face first into them. The second Dervish is going to be in position. And 2 Lancers not going to be enough to deal with 6 Knights.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation here, right? Because Wham has a stronger unit on the field, but just not enough yet. And CSO, now that he's Castle Age, like, I feel like he has a lot of options with how he can play this. The Dervish, though, did manage to yoink that relic, which is really good for Wham, right? Like you said, getting that little bit of free resources into his base from his age up is really critical here. And he has a lot of the eco upgrades. Like, I think Wham's scaling this quite nicely. He's got an 8-ville lead, obviously mostly carried by the eco wing, but like not losing any to these knights. Playing really safe with that wall. Everything's pretty good here for him. The charges coming across. The player's just going to exchange some charges. You see that purple glow on the knights because the camels do have that 20% debuff. Yeah, it's just tricky. It's just tricky for CSO here. I'm trying to think about what his next play is, and it's like, if he's not capitalizing on the deer now, like all that extra eco right now, like what's next for him? Is it to play into art, like 2 ranges maybe?
So he definitely has not committed to a playstyle yet, and I think this indecisiveness is definitely something that could contribute to Wham actually just taking complete control of this. Because like I said, he's playing it safe, but he is aware of the food situation, right? He knows every single deer has been picked up. The Knights' numbers are really scary, but Wham forcing him to split up his army is the difference here. Wham has camels, and he's ensuring that there is at least 2 Knights having to chase these down. And even if they do collide, it just doesn't feel like he's in a happy place to take those trades. It's just forcing him to not move into his base. The difference here as well is the healing is quite significant from the dervishes. Yeah. So when these camels do get healed up, you can see that is so fast, so much faster than chivalry. So he doesn't mind taking a good little nosedive into a group of knights.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. Like, you'd almost expect maybe a transition, like I said, double range, like just into Arbalest or something, right? Like you need some units on the field. I feel like if you're CSO, like you need to get into a position where you can actually take fights. mainly because, you know, JD's experience is really low, and now the amount of camels that Ayubans are fielding here is so high that CsO does have to run. He doesn't have the university, so he's not going to get early royal bloodlines here. He just has to run, and JD's going to get left behind. Oh no, she's on the run, but the counter charge is in, so the Ayuban player, Wham, didn't get a good charge in. Have to retreat, but like you said, the healing going to take over.
And he's got the dervish in the vicinity as well. That dervish is loving his life, just making sure that everybody is nice and healthy in his academy. The thing is, you've got Royal Institute, right? And with Royal Institute, the whole point of this is to make things happen.
And I thought he had Guildhall. My bad. Oopsies.
So getting a Royal Institute just means we need to see some horseplay here, and there's none of the above because we don't have the gold for it. So now this is a pretty big raiding army that is going to go around and ensure that your horses are not doing what they're meant to, and that's raiding. So we'll see if the knights get a good collapse here, but you can see Wham doesn't want to give any extra resources to CsO, and CsO, he's going to run out of gold. Not soon, but with the knight numbers and the amount of units that he's going to need to put out, he's definitely going to be struggling. Wham, on the other hand, we do need to look at the food situation. Berries, looking decent. He's still got a lot. He's already farm transitioning because he knows about the slowdown. More farms coming in, not being a greedy goose at all. He's being responsible about every part of this economy.
Yeah, now we see the Royal Bloodlines coming in, and that's going to be critical. The numbers are pretty even. I still favor the Camel Lancers, I think, right? Maybe not after Cantled Saddles comes in as well. But here's a big trade. Both players going to back off. Shot is still not tier 3. Going to go for that Sacred Site now. A raid on the final deer coming in. Still quite a lot of food on the TC for CsO, though. Going to be pretty cozy.
Oh,
I almost think he needs more production buildings.
Yeah.
He needs more production buildings. I just feel like he needs a few more to make more. Like, maybe that one on the left isn't in the control group, or maybe he's very intentionally not making more knights. Alright, there we go. No. Another wave of them are queued.
He figured out, I just need to press the button. And he pressed the button. So now, with more knights coming on, we can also see there's a lot of resources in the bank. So we'll see if he does decide to go for some military upgrades too. Both of these players not prioritizing them too much. Wham now getting +1 ranged. Which I'm a little surprised about. Are we going to see some composition changes coming in? Or is this just purely for the static defenses?
Not sure.
Oh, never mind, boys. Never mind.
Yeah, ranges.
We're coming in hot, boys.
Do what? Maybe crossbows?
More camels. Oh, never mind. I was just hoping.
I mean, your opponent's massing only knights, right? It makes sense. And now we do see that production coming in, so CsO has 9 knights in queue. Maybe he was just thinking about what to make and now really deciding, being decisive here. So we're not going to see a transition into a less mobile force. A single... Oh, that's a really good raid location. Just a single Camel Lancer getting so much value there. And, you know, that's where you really see the difference with those little small walls, right? Like, Palisade walls, they're tricky to get up. They take a long time, and they're pretty expensive, but just keeps your villagers working a lot of the time. And you see that investment from Wham really paying off. Look how much resources he's sitting on.
Wham gets to...
Wham's eco's great.
He can transition into any build from this, any unit, just because of the resources he has in the bank. See, he can even, if he needed to, he'd be able to go into siege at this point. That's how great he set himself up. By adding those early farms, he's extended the lifetime of all his food sources. So if he does get pushed off of one, he has something to fall back on. And yes, this did delay his ability to do some raiding, etc., but it was also not a position he wanted to be in. He didn't want to constantly raid. JD is a little bit out of position though, but the camels do get a pretty good connect, and the dervishes are ready to heal up, but the knights want to get a connection as well. He's getting +2 attack now, and another alarm going off, another camel being annoying.
I mean, these knights are actually going to get shredded by this crossbow switch, right? Like, CsO hasn't invested in even the steel, the undermesh. I think it's called the first ranged armor upgrade, right? Like, it's gonna be tricky here, right? Like, these crossbows have +2 attack, and they're not even revealed yet. It's gonna be, when he reveals them, it's gonna be like there's 30 on the field, and I think CsO might be a little surprised by this switch because he's looking at the numbers and saying, okay, makes sense. I'm a little ahead in numbers, right? He might be feeling even good about the game in that sense, but He's going to take an engagement, and behind these Camel Lancers, it's about to be 20 crossbows. Maybe more.
And JD just leveled up. We just heard her, and you guys can see her there on the screen. She chooses the riders, though. Just definitely favoring that mobility, but these Camel Lancers are getting their value. Villagers dying.
Vill's dying on both sides, though. Couple raids there for Wham. Or sorry, on Wham as well. And the crossbows now just backing up to that outpost. And we'll see if CSO feels brave enough to just take a fight and dive. I'd be surprised if he does, but maybe he's thinking about it.
All these empowered towers are definitely doing some amazing work here, but it does look like this is going to be the engagement. The Wololo will be coming through.
Whoa! Run! That's so good for the crossbows, buying them so much time to just shoot down, but now the Knights just going to be trading against the Camel Lancers on the front line. The crossbows taking really good shots here. That front line, though, for CSO, is it going to be enough?
It does.
Oh, I don't know.
It does feel like the army value is still in the favor of CSO for now, but the crossbows are shredding, and these Knights are very low HP. Dervish is doing amazing work at trying to keep these alive, but the Knight numbers are so scary. They're on top of the crossbows right now. It does look like CSO has done a pretty decent dent, but the question is, can he remake these units?
Oh, he remake it?
No.
Oh, just barely. CSO down to the timing there. The crossbows, though, standing supreme. There's not really anything left for CSO in this engagement. Just a few Knights on the front here. The crossbow's going to be able to hold the line. And retreating are, what, 4 very hurt Knights, 5 super hurt Knights, and an army of Camel Lancers and crossbows are coming across the field. I really wonder if CSO should have switched up into some different units there. He just went down. He went into, like, what, 7 stables or something? Just all in Knight production, no composition, and no real counter to the army that Wham was making, and Wham decisive in this series.
That was disgusting. Dervish healing out of this world, Winston. What did we just witness?
That was actually insane. I think it's faster when you're holding a relic too, right?
Yeah,
So I think he grabbed those relics and I think his frontline held because of that healing.
It was an absolute amazing fight there from Webb. Just like you said, the crossbow switch threw him off. And CSO now definitely not feeling too good about being down 3-0. Match point for Wham. And Wham is this close to qualifying for the LAN. And we will need to fly someone else out from North America region. Oh my goodness, Wham. You are just making the LAN more expensive. I'm joking. I'm so glad we get to see Wham. It's so good to see both brothers in this scenario, because this is what you want to see. You want to see these big names constantly making it through, and they're still shining. Wham definitely put up an amazing fight, and I'm really excited to see if he's going to make this a 4-0. Guys, let's go back to the lobby and look at that final draft.
Yeah, I'm very curious what the sheep. I'm very curious what the next game is going to be. And wow, Wham even further saving his top picks. I guess it makes sense. It makes sense if you're winning with everything, just keep winning. And so we have Relic River, Ottomans versus Japanese, and I would say CSO, his Japanese has looked really scary in these qualifiers so far. So this looks spooky for Wham. I could see CSO taking a game here.
The thing is, when you have Japan, there's been so many little tactics and things they pull out of nowhere that makes this a very scary unit or a very scary civilization to play against. We've seen some people do actual moves with Shinobi instead of just using them for water maps or hybrid maps. They get to use them for basically anything and forcing their opponent to just make unfavorable units. But now with Ottomans, we've been seeing a lot of barracks openings as well. This just doesn't feel like that matchup where you do go for the barracks opening, because if you do, you could just be faced with that samurai fight in the early game that does not bode too well for a bunch of Stock Age spears.
Yeah, you can kind of make it work if you go to a lot of units, right? If it really scales up, you get the meta maybe, or the healing, and that could be enough maybe, if you go to imams, right? But that's only if you're really scaling up to like a really, really, really big Dark Age fight. Definitely prefer Japanese in that case in a lot of senses. So we'll see. Yeah, it's spicy. It's spicy. We've seen CSO with these Onobugeisha switches in the mid game. He'll just drop like 7 barracks and then just spam like up to 50 or 60 Onobugeisha and really surprise the opponent. And I'm excited to see CSO if he does that this game, if Wham has a prep for that, because it seemed like almost every time he's done that, he's won, right?
And we've seen a lot of destruction from those Bugattis. They are running around the map so quickly. And it has not been something the players have been comfortable dealing with. We've been seeing that those switches that come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden everyone's just like, hey, how am I supposed to kill these units? They're everywhere. So definitely they've got some cards in there that they can show. And we will see what that looks like, because ladies and gentlemen, we are ready. So let's hop on in to our next game.
Sheep. All right. Here we go. Ottomans versus Japanese. And okay, so we're going to have an early middle school.
Yes.
Interesting.
Something we haven't seen in a while, right?
Yeah, with a lot of the changes to Ottomans over the years, right? Players have the meta has kind of shifted back and forth between is it worth it to rush that first military school? You have to mine the 50 stone, which is kind of one of the big decision points on it. It's like, is this worth the time? And am I going to get enough spearmen early game to really make it worth it? And we'll see. So yeah, there's the placement. And there are ways, like for a long time on like hybrid maps like this, players would build this and a barracks on top to get even more spearmen out. And it kind of like helps cover your investment and force your opponent to do a lot. But we already see CSO with the cheaper barracks, even cheaper than the Ottoman barracks, right? Already getting a spearman out. And yeah, this is tricky, right? So Wham already going to be committing his scout to killing the deer. We'll see if he's able to kill many. This is a bit of a micro battle, right? You want to stop your opponent from being able to push. And CSO wants to be able to push at least a few deer in with these early spears.
And it does look like he's going to be trailing behind the other scout now. And with those spearmen, now, him denying this is already so massive, because you're just making those spearmen a little bit less effective in terms of pushing the deer. But now they could have a good time running to your base and causing a little bit of havoc. And I feel like this is something we could potentially see. Let's go check where those spearmen are planning to go. No, never mind. They just have one goal, and that goal is pushing them deer. Yeah.
It's push time.
Yes, and
When
only
push
one
comes
spearman.
to shove, they push and then shove the deer around.
No, CSO, he does try and see what the next possible target might be. Now, with the deer being here at the back, it's perfectly safe. Probably also trying to look for that so he can deny a little bit of it, because with the military school, Wham is going to be able to push his deer as well. We do see the spearmen being quite successful here, getting this deer all under the TC. 3 of them, that's a pretty good loot to have, considering that 3 of them got killed off. Now, are we going to be seeing some miraculous plays over here? I would not be surprised, because we have been seeing some crazy pushes coming out of these players.
Yeah, I think we'll see a spearman head up there. It's been nice for CSO. Like, this has been a very cheap investment, because Wham didn't go for the adaptation where you add a second barracks on top of the mill school. Sorry, not a second, but you add a barracks on top of the mill school, right? It just means that like Wham's so slow to getting on the map with any spears that CSO only had to build the 1 spear, so his investment was a lot cheaper. So he actually has a pretty similar age up, even though he had to pay for the spearman. Things are pretty nice here for him. Crew storehouse on the right, going to cover the wood line a little bit with some, like, lets them delay the lumber camp a little bit. And then, yeah, it's a nice spot for the farms later on. It's going to feel nice and secure on this side. Meanwhile, we see the twin minaret.
Yeah, when you're aging up with the twin minaret, you definitely are sorted for your food, especially when you go into a situation where your scout only gets 4 sheep. It does make things a little bit harder, and I do think he wants to play this safe, because at the same time, we've been seeing some crazy things from Japan. And playing against someone like CSO, you don't know what he's about to pull out of the hat. But the Chorus Storehouse, also very safe play here, not expecting him to pull any crazy shenanigans with Shinobis. But with this, he's just telling us he is ready to play a pretty standard game. Because with him, we've seen a lot of things. I'm just excited to find out what that thing is going to be. Do we see a fast castle, or are we just going to be playing normal feudal? But with 4 on gold, I'm already getting sus. 5 on gold, I'm already getting sus, Winston.
You're getting sus again, so
Yes.
it's more sus.
Yes.
Yeah,
Big
we see the
sus.
outpost even wanting to defend this. Yeah, this it looks like it could be the play from CSO. We see this quite a lot. I mean, Japan's played FCs for a long, long time, right? It's been one of their go-tos. We could see where he puts the Yoshiro probably into like a stable, right? It's kind of the tried and true. Is sending a few vills to wood. I guess he might need another house soon. But yeah, interesting.
And getting Takejaku as well, not something I think we see from most Japanese players that go for that fast castle. But does
Well,
definitely
he's
help.
using the exposed food, right? He's using the berries first, so that he can retreat back to the sheep later and the deer that he's pushed in. It's really smart play, I think, right? Because if you're going to be FC, you might be on the back foot from military, although we're not really seeing too much here. Wham slowly training a meta, right? With 3 spearmen. We're not going to see anything hyper aggressive for a while.
Yeah,
Looks like it's going to be pairing with, sorry, Spahi maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. The thing is, we don't have a lot of food, of course, so he is definitely not thinking about, oh, I'm going to be dealing with a fast castle here. But he is going to have the units to handle that initial mounted samurai push that we do see coming from most people. So, military school, definitely questionable by a lot of the top players, but if Wham does it, he knows something that the rest of them don't. And with this amount of spearmen, you're going to be okay against those mounted samurais, at least for a while. But now we are getting close to it. We can see the income is starting to edge there, and at the same time, Wham is very much just focused on the wood. We have double broadaxe as well, and I would not be surprised if he tries and finds some damage. But like you said, he's on the outside food sources, so he's going to be able to retreat onto these and be perfectly fine for quite a while.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Kuro Storehouse on the south is going to be important to protect, which is kind of an exposed angle onto the wood still. Like, would love to see a little wall there from CSO. I think he really could afford to do it now. And this would be the time. Yeah, a small wall there and then up to the gold would help. To me, it would secure my peace of mind going for an FC here, especially when you know your opponent has a mill school. So there are going to be units coming from the other side of the map, regardless of how many, you don't know. But yeah, it's a bit spooky.
Now,
I don't know. It's just spooky.
It is spooky, Winston. Very. And I mean, he's on dock as well. I didn't even realize that Wham went for food down here, but it does make a lot of sense. He is definitely going to try and grab every advantage on the map that will be uncontested, I say. I really hope it will be in this scenario. But it does look like the spearman takes a lot of damage here. More spears following suit. They do want to come and deny this. But you have to keep in mind, this is a Dark Age spearman. This is a Dark Age. Yes, it is. I was like, because sometimes
it's the
US
bugged.
The one
floating gate coming in.
One who will be impale all the Sabahis, but we see the floating gate being floated into castle. And now Wham macering up to castle himself.
It's going to be a while. He's investing more into units. He's built a bunch of production buildings. And this is interesting.
With the 2 imams as well, I'm definitely very wrong, Winston. He's getting +1 range defense. He's going to go for a little bit of a denial here, but this outpost is reinforced.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky, especially because the speed at which the mounted samurai are going to come out, it's going to be quite fast, and it's going to be hard to deny if he's not denying the gold right now. It's going to be tricky, which is surprising to say the least, that he's just not diving. He's invested all this into the army, and he's going to let this happen. So now he's going to have to contest this against the knights, right? That's going to be the main challenge here. There are going to be lancers on the field, or sorry, mounted samurai on the field. A little bit of a raid on the wood, but it's not too bad. And look how many vills are on food now. He's got 300 gold, so he's going to be able to get those 3 mounted samurai out. And I'm not seeing Wham with enough units right now to really necessarily fight that effectively.
Wham definitely thought he would be able to find a little spot and wasn't. But now he has reconsidered into castle himself. And he's making some walls, as Wham does, to ensure that he doesn't get counter. Another Wham wall coming through. And CSO, I feel like this might be a sign, sir. Otherwise, we will have more Sabahis.
what I find really fascinating here is CSO didn't even go for like a direct play into a ton of mounted samurai. Like Wham respected it so much that CSO didn't even have to do it. He put the first Yorishiro in a farmhouse randomly just for some more food. Like, that's crazy that he didn't even have to like spam the samurai, and that's because Wham just did not die at all. And I actually think he could have maybe like denied some of the gold for a bit, made things awkward, forced the Yorishiro into the stable to get more mounted samurai out. But he's just been allowed to play his game, and now we're seeing a play into all. Like, is that normal samurai? Yeah, I think it is. Spicy.
And this just means that Wham is preparing for mounted samurai. He is going to ensure that he's ready for a push like that, but the real samurai require a more specialized unit. We'll see if crossbows are going to be the weapon of choice eventually. He does have 1 archery range to do so, but with those 8 spearmen, samurais are not going to mind at all. The mounted samurai does go run past the dock. He will be running into 2 spears here. This turn around a little bit, does not want to fight into it. But for now, the rest of the army is following suit. And we do have the Shinto priest coming around as well, straight onto the relic.
Yeah, the MIA has been found for Wham, so it's going to be going up with some nice free mangonels, essentially, and we'll see how this plays into the combat, or the composition for CSO, right? Because so far he's thinking, like, just this sort of mixed samurai comp is going to be enough, and the priest going to yoink the relic, but gets spotted by the spears. There are 2 samurai to defend, but I'm not sure it's enough. Yeah, no, that's going to be it. No, he goes down. I think he goes down.
He slices and
I
dices.
see Wololo. He should have. Maybe Wololo.
Oh, now he will survive. Yeah, now he's tanky enough for this. Oh,
is he?
Ooh,
Is
he's
he?
not. He's not.
Is
oh my
he?
goodness. He's taking so much
Is
damage.
he? Oh, he goes down.
Beautiful
It's
play
not
by the
really that relevant
samurais.
to the. It's
That's
just
not-
the most relevant thing, but it was exciting in the moment. You know, it felt fun. Had fun.
It's 11 minutes into the game. It's the most action we could have asked for. Now, Wham has the imams ready though, so he's going to be able to grab those bad boys pretty quickly. He's got 1 in hand right now, second one being picked up at the moment. And it does look like the Sapahis are looking for some damage.
Can we switch to res per minute? I'm kind of curious, real quick. I'm curious about how the food's handling for CSO, right? Because remember he didn't do any transitions, but he does have the Kura, so he'll have those farms already set up. He might be on his natural food for quite a long time here with the way he played.
And just look at all those farms now. Wonderful, especially with the Daimo Manor as well. So this is just going to ensure that this is boosted and stronger and gets him every little thing he needs. And with another barracks coming down, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have your driving license because it is Bugatti time.
Yes, the Bugattis are here. The supreme sports car of AoE 4. The Onubugeisha. It's on the field. CSO's making that switch. He's got the Samurai Bannerman. And he's going to be supporting that with a lot of Onubugeisha. We'll see how many he actually ends up training. But currently it looks like he's making out of 3 barracks, as well as a few still mounted samurai to front line. We'll see.
With these other samurais, they're just putting a little bit of pressure on the map, making sure that Wham doesn't think he can just stay in his base or raid in one place, but the relic does get picked up. It will get shut down pretty quickly though. So Wololo comes out, he found the button, he just won't be able to Wololo them to death. Now, the samurais are doing what they can, but the Sapahis should be okay handling these bad boys. One of them might go down. No, never mind. Wham is way too fast for any of that. And they will use the wall to get back to safety.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation here brewing. I wonder if Wham should have the MIA on the Mangonels. I actually kind of think it might be better to put it onto Springalds, but Mangonels are probably okay here. But, like, maybe Springalds? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying a bit?
Springles have been showing a lot of prowess in the current meta, and especially when you know you're going to be playing... Again.
He just did it. He just changed the MIA to Springles. Dude, is he listening to the stream? I swear.
Yeah. He's actually like on the timer for 5 minutes, and he's like, yes. No. We he knows.
No, I'm just kidding.
He knows who Winston is, and he knows he gives the best advice, and he's just ready to turn onto the Springald button. Because the Springald button tells the tale. We've seen the power of the Springald in a mass composition, land composition like this. Land composition, I said. Melee composition, my goodness. I found the word. Winston, you need to take over with your English because apparently mine has left.
Nah, comprehension is out the building. We don't need that here. We just got sports cars and good vibes here. CSO though, he's got the transition going quite large, like the up to 18, quite large. It's a quite large transition. He's got up to 21 now. Onobugeishas, and things are heating up. Military and Eco feels neck and neck overall. The food income for CSO is still propped up a bit by the natural sources. He's moving a lot of Eco north of his base, which could be an exposed location that Wham could get to. Still playing without any walls. It's kind of dicey.
Oh, he feels confident.
I don't know. I always would add little small walls everywhere like Wham does. I don't know. I would just think it's a safer way to play, but we'll see. CSO's feeling confident and he's got the massive units that he wants. Are the Spahi going to be enough?
The Bugattis have shown their faces very clearly. The main composition is... The jig is up. And we're about to see if Ottomans has the tools to actually shut this down. The thing is, Wham hasn't really decided on which tool he needs. He's decided to go for the whole box. So he went for the fun surprise box, and as we can see, he's got every type of unit out there. We will see what the next Vizier point is as well. He got that extra military school, and we'll see what the next one is of choice. We've been seeing some crazy Vizier points lately, but more villagers going out here onto the map. Very exposed to those Sapahis coming his way. And he's going to be making some Janissaries from those military schools.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. A nice little raid, so finally some blood with these Spahi. The Berryville's not going to be able to get berries no more. They have to retreat, run home. And the Bugeisha's just trying to keep up with the speed of Spahi in the raids, just trying to stay in the right spots at the right times. I'm wondering when CSO is going to make an offensive push. I'm wondering when he's going to move out onto the map, right? Just now starting to get some of the armor upgrades, so the blacksmith has been, or sorry, the forge has been a little idle here and there. He does have the attack upgrades, but just now starting to get the armor. And we're up to 50 Onobugeisha, 19 in queue. Things are about to heat up real quick.
The thing is, I don't know if CSO has decided what he exactly wants to do, because it feels like the armies are moving in different directions, then they're moving a little bit back, and then they're moving back into another direction. But Wham has made the decision for him, actually. He's like, hey, I will just decide where we will be fighting. And that fight is right now, especially with your army being split up like this. Because we now see these bad boys are going straight for the base, but... this could be costly. We see the horses turning around, and he's respecting these Bugattis, because those Bugattis, they are looking scary. We see them ready to collapse on top of that mangonel now. Never mind. They have changed course. Ladies and gentlemen, they have changed course.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement. They turned around. All right, the Onobugeishas, though, coming into the base. Can we check that out?
Yeah.
Big fight.
Coming in. It's happening.
Here it is.
They do come back here. And it does look like they're trying to get out, but there's a lot of horses, and they're much faster than the Bugattis. Bugattis still only have 2 legs, so they can't run away that quickly. Unfortunately for him, it does look like the samurais will be able to... oh, the knights will be able to pick something up.
Imagine if that was a demo.
Oh, they do not want to fight that guy anyway.
Oh, that is a demo. Wait a minute. That was spicy. Yeah, so the Bugeishas, though, they're just going to be meeting up with the rest of their forces, right? There's 76 Onobugeishas on the field. CSGO has 150 population to the 120 of Wham, and it's a distraction technique. He's trying to get a little surround there. Doesn't quite get it. Oh, man, that was really close.
And that was a lot of idle time there at the top, though, and there's still units there waiting. But it looks like CSO is going to be backing off here. And we do see that army from the top also making their way to safety. Now, these guys, you don't want to be losing them. They are expensive, but it doesn't feel like he is getting the damage he needs from them just yet. We see only 1 villager kill up until now, so he's definitely trying to find that damage, but Wham is just not letting him. Now, Wham is probably very happy in this position, though. He's getting free units galore, and CSO, he's thinking imp.
Yeah, this Imperial, I think, is going to put a little spook into Wham's shoes. You know what I'm saying? That should light a little fire under your belly when you hear that sound with that many Onobugeishas, Onobugattis. They get a lot of value from the elite upgrade, right? Like it's a bit scary, and so I'm very curious if Wham is going to feel prepared to just take a fight here strictly against this, because it seems dicey. I think CSO doesn't want to fight right away. It looks like Wham could have potentially denied this landmark if he had gotten lucky with the pathing, but he didn't quite spot it, and all the Bugattis are far, far away. But here they come.
The Bugattis have arrived. The thing is, with these knights or lancers, he was going to be able to get on top of that castle with the crow and make CSO pay dearly. And unfortunately, just not spotting it in time. He is going to go there now. But the castle of the crow is almost done, and there are some reinforcements here to try and protect these. Every villager needs to work. He pulls that last one as well just to get this up quickly. But at the back there, tiny little raid. He will respect this.
Yeah. And we're going to immediately see the Onobugeisha upgrade, right? The attack upgrade, right? A couple things, maybe a university for the elite army tactics replacement that Japanese have, but Oda tactics, right? But we'll see. This is 85 Onobugeishas is a lot, and I'm not sure the military on the field for Wham is really sufficient. He does have up to 5 Springholds now, so it's a bit spooky. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to handle this wave of elite. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I could be very wrong. But the mill difference here is crazy.
It does feel like that military that's heading his way is scary, but look at that siege mass that's moving now. We do have the samurais joining in here too, and these armies are about to collide. There's a siege mass at the bottom, and there are some more units right at the top here. We do not want to engage onto these so simply. There's going to be more than 100 of them, and I think we may be in for the biggest fight, but Istanbul Observatory has been chosen, and this is going to mean that Wham does not want to take the fight right now.
Yeah, but that's also going to be a slow age up. Henville's on it way down in the south, like it's not really going to get sped up very easily. Wait, it got spotted almost. That's crazy. That Wham saw that coming and knew to cancel, but that's actually a big deal that he has to cancel, because now CSO might just think to take the fight. He's going to see the cancel foundation. He might just run in here. If he dove in right now, I think he'd win the fight.
And that might be exactly what he's going to do.
First. He's saving up enough res to go imp again. Oh, Oda tactics first. Okay, Oda tactics. It made sense. We talked about it briefly when he hit imp. Does he just wait for all of his upgrades before the fight? It looks like he'll have the time, but the university, or sorry, the observatory. What could Wham rush right away upon hitting imp that would change your fight?
I mean, for him,
he's 1,000 gold, so he gets like 1 upgrade. Maybe the Springald upgrade, Janissary guns, Jans. Okay.
Yes. With the amount of Janissaries he has, he probably thinks that this is his best chance at survival. But we'll see what the case is here. He does not have an extra vizier point to click in this moment, so there's no button that he can panic on. But the blobs are starting to get scary. We have a blob at the top, we have a blob in the middle, and the blob at the bottom. It just feels like this teal blob is never ending, because we can see in queue, there's more.
Yeah, the Springald upgrade could be pretty clutch here. Just trying to get like enough of them out though is going to be the challenge, and they could just get swarmed if you're not able to body them perfectly. And this is why I think I really like CSO's approach, because Wham kind of needs all of his units on top of each other to keep the mass alive. But if the fight gets really split up, I think CSO will win 3 split up fights. 108 Bugattis on the field, 10 more in queue. He's ready to go. He's ready to take some trades. The ones in the south are going to get collapsed on, but the center of the field, that's where a big fight's going to be happening on that northern side.
Oh,
2
yes.
big fights, and let's see if Wham can hold in both. He's going to be kiting with the Jans in the north and trying to collapse on the ones in the south. The Springald should be rolling down there to the bottom to deal with those.
It doesn't feel like he has and his siege mass was just out of position. These guys will reign supreme. We can see that top fight still happening, but in the base, all of these Springalds could have made such a big difference in that last fight, but they were not at the top, they were not at the bottom, they were nowhere. And now Wham is in a lot of danger. It doesn't feel like he is going to be able to clear these, because they're just everywhere. Aside from that split screen you guys are watching, we have them at the wood line, we have them at the front here, hammering away at the Istanbul Observatory, and it just feels like there is just too much to keep track of for him.
Oh, and he gets a crazy surround on them. The Jans just back themselves into a corner. There's nowhere left to retreat to. And now the siege in the center, the TC is getting flooded, and Wham is going to tap out. CSO avoids the 4-0, the clean sweep, and now he puts himself on the path to the reverse sweep.
Oof.
That would be crazy.
Did he just bring the curse to Wham's games? I don't know. I feel like Wham still has a lot on his cards. He still has a lot of opportunity to take CSO down, especially with the civs that he has. Now, this is a best of 7 with no redrafting, so we all just get to play the civs that we see in front of us. Now, we can see that unit count. When the Bugatti switch came in, the Bugattis came in, it became a lot more scary for Wham to survive. Look at that graph. That is disgusting.
Yeah, and that final fight, like, it was just a flood of units, and all the upgrades kind of came in. I think that fast aim timing was really clutch, and I think Wham, yeah, like he had a lot of different units, but it sort of meant he felt a little like maybe trapped a bit in his base, unable to really move out except for the Spahi raids, right? It just didn't really pan out enough. But like you could definitely see that being closer, right? Like if he had caught the age up, right, like things would have looked very different, I think.
Definitely. But with that, guys, let's go look at the final draft. And ladies and gentlemen, yes, we're seeing the same civilization that has been plaguing this tournament with their disgusting fast Imperial age-ups. Winston, we have Lancaster.
Lancaster to get to the land for Wham. He's trying it all, and we'll see. He's had really good success with the Civ in this tournament. He first picked it for a reason. I was kind of surprised to see it take this long, but I guess he's really just thinking about using it on Karlauger here, and that's going to be the play against CSO's Abbasid. I'm really curious to see how CSO is going to approach this. He's got a few options, I think, but it seems tricky.
The problem with Abbasid here, the problem for Wham is Abbasid, I don't think it's been a matchup we've seen too much between these two specifically. So Abbasid, we've seen them on this map. We know how they deny docks, but Lancaster, they don't care about docks. They just care about, building a base and then getting to Imperial. And the thing is, they do have a lot of cards they can pull out as the game goes on. And I feel like the amount of answers they have just makes this really, really tough to handle. So I'm a little bit excited to see if CSO can shut down Lancaster, because a Lancaster that survives that initial aggression, they just destroy. So we'll see if Abbasid does pull out some sneaky plays. Do you have a vote for which civilization you would like to be on the side of here? Not to play it.
What do you mean be on the side of? To play us?
Yeah, to play us.
I'd probably pick Lancaster here as Wham. If I'm Wham as well, do I get to be the player too? Or
yes, you could be the player as well.
Yeah, because I would lose against both of them. No, probably Wham's Lancaster here. I think is going to take it, but it's tricky. I don't know. CSO has played really well. His Japan, like we said at the start, is going to be solid, and he played it really, really well. Excited to see what his plan is for Abbasid here and how he's going to try and tackle Wham's Lancaster.
Yeah, that is going to be the big mystery. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to go inside.
Go.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. Here we go. Lancaster. Against Abbasids. So the barracks opening for both, I would assume.
We'll check that in a moment. It looks to be one-sided, actually. And, yes, that is a one-sided opening with going normally on gold. Now, this barracks cannot just be a play onto the gold. And I see where that thing is rallied. It looks like it's rallied across the map. So, never mind. He's decided not to. Plans change.
Well, that's interesting because Lancaster has some advantages towards that, right? With the sheep gather rate, I think you can get away with quite a few spearmen, and you don't mind the longer Dark Age. Wow, no one getting sheep.
No one getting sheep. It's actually banned this game. No sheep allowed.
Yeah, no sheep. Wham is so happy about that. And let's see, CSO gonna be just scouting around. So that's interesting. So because CSO didn't go for the barracks, Wham decided to cancel his. I find that surprising.
Yeah, I feel like the Lancaster still has a place for what their barracks can do, but at the same time, they want to be able to punish something. So maybe if they saw a dog coming out, that would be a choice that they would make. But honestly, still no sheep. I just want to point. Okay, there we go, there we go. We're getting some sheep, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that, 2 solid sheep going over to Mr. Lancaster. Now, I am still slightly worried here because I think Abbasid is holding the cards in their hands very, very tightly. So, what do we expect to see from Abbasid here in terms of the wing? So, chicken wing is unavailable, so we only have military wing, right? And what are the other choices here?
I mean, I don't think you can, like, theoretically, you would want to maybe try going Eco Wing to match the boom. But I think we just all know that doesn't quite work, right? So I don't think you can get away with like a TC play here. I guess you just try and go mill, but it's never going to be in time. So I don't know. I don't know. Mill's going to be the play. I don't see what you're going to get accomplished with the units.
So with those units,
Maybe you can get to the stone with this placement.
exactly. Luckily for him, there is a stone that is exposed. This is a very good Lancaster castle, though. I mean, with the amount of resources you cover, you're probably pretty happy with this placement, but your stone is in a little bit of a tight spot, though. But Lancaster, they're okay with just getting their 3 manors, and this is exactly what he's thinking about as well. He's like, okay, I'm not going to have this forever, so we see 4 on stone, a little bit more than the usual 3 that we see over there. And that's going to mean that if you do get your stone, you're going to get enough for at least 2 before you start getting pushed off. So definitely an option for Wham without sacrificing too much. Now, from Abbasid's side, we are not seeing anything like a dock play here at all. Apparently, we're not caring about the food whatsoever. We are just going full aggression. So we'll see if that military wing does transition into something else, but for now, no indicators just yet.
Yeah, I'm curious where CSO is going to take his first units. It's got to be to the stone, right? It's really the only viable option, but it's also tricky against English civs, right? English and Lancaster, right? With the bow, you just do you really get a lot done there? I don't know. It's just kind of spicy. Maybe you just use them to push more deer, like straight up. Like I don't know. Trying to think.
Now,
This is a matchup I haven't played too much recently, right? So it's tricky. It's not one you see a lot nowadays, I feel like.
especially not on Kurlaga, right? that's the key here too. But I think with CSO now, he's gotten those units. We'll see where they're going to the stone. There was no question about it. Winston, you knew it days in advance. But that's a lot of wood in his arsenal. He is trying to get those manors up as quickly as possible. The thing is, though, with this type of investment, they do take a while for this to pay off. So my question is just, once they deny the stone, do we just have a rotation into actually denying what makes Lancaster and get rid of these manors with a nice little ram, because CSO has a lot of wood in the bank and he could do anything with that. And it's a ram. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going for the ram. So with this ram, he's going to be able to hammer away at this manor as well, especially with these 2 archers. He should be easily able to place them around for anyone to deny. And he knows, Wham knows, that was a very optimistic manor, and puts it in a much safer position. It looks like he will only be able to get 2 for now because he has been pushed off of the stone.
Yeah, with 81 in the bank, not going to be able to afford that 3rd one. We'll be surprised. Oh, and cancels that ram. It was all debate. I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe. So I don't know if CSO saw the 2nd manor get placed. I don't know if he saw that in the fog. He might be thinking that Wham canceled the manor and is going for military. So we'll see if he spots it. And then maybe his logic was, I don't want to ram into nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's a very large investment. Putting down the resources for a ram and then just backing out would definitely not bode so well. Trying to see what his scout is going to reveal for him, because this is going to be so critical. The thing is, he's quite far away from getting that information. He got just enough for that extra 1, and now he's getting a lot of gold. Now, I'm not expecting him to press the nobles button just yet, but nothing is off the table here. It does look like he is getting a lot of resources, though. And he presses the button. Winston, I jinxed it. He's getting some horses. And the thing is, they're going to do pretty well against what we have here.
Yeah, not enough spearmen on the field to handle the early muster. I mean, it is... Like, if you're thinking about it from the long-term perspective of the game, though, like, this is a pretty low-value click for Lancaster, so it might do enough to push this back, but that might even be something CSO is okay with. If he's able to trade somewhat okay against these early Demi-Lancers, then it's at least better than dealing with, 11 of them later, right? So we'll see if CSO is even ready for this. Like, it might be something he's not expecting. He's going to be garrisoning in the Ram, and the Demi-Lancers are going to be going straight for the counterattack. Can we follow that? Like,
yes,
they're
we
coming
can,
back.
of course. I've just pressed the button like a boss, and this button is giving us all the information we want. The villagers are pulpo. And this is a little bit of idle time. He needs to pop these boys out to get rid of those Demi-Lancers, but they are taking a lot of damage all around,
the Vills
actually.
are pulled. It's a lot of idle time on the Vills.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a camel now, so that the Demi-Lancers are going to deal even less damage. They're a pretty low damage unit in Feudal Age, but we'll see. The charge comes in. There's 2 spearmen, but they're going to go down probably pretty quick to the Vilbos, and the horsemen are going to dive under, and this is a full commit from CSO onto the economy here. Wham, did he bite off more than he can chew, or does he have a solid defense here?
It does feel like that defense was way better than I think CSO expected. CSO thinking that he could take this fight was probably pretty optimistic with all the units inside, or all the buildings that he was up against. So with all those villagers as well, Shortbow's doing amazing work, but now Wham could be the one overcommitting. CSO putting that pressure down, forcing Wham to commit here is definitely a pretty good move. CSO keeps that pump going. You can see he's got a lot more units in queue. The Ram is still alive. And will he go ram it down a little bit more? Yeah, the answer is yes.
Yeah, we're going to see the White Tower so soon, though. Like, and the White Tower just placed right in the middle here. It's going to shut down all this aggression. A little further away, but still in a spot where it's going to shut down all the aggression, right?
That's going to mean no more diving. So if you try to dive, he will just be able to turn around and beat you. So we're going to quickly look at the villager split here again. CSO is just putting enough on gold to get those upgrades, but it doesn't look like he's ready to commit to anything else. The Ram, they do get a good charge off it, but it doesn't do too much damage. And the White Tower, though, is taking its time to get up, but it will be there just in time for that second Ram to start the push as well. Horses charging back and forth, Ram absorbing a lot of damage, but it does feel like he's just trying to keep this pressure up to try and delay Wham. But Wham is not really flinching, I would say.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 Earl's cards on the field really soon. I mean, CSO might be somewhat happy with the fact that it's not like 9 manners right now, but yeah, it's a bit tricky. With the White Tower coming in, that is 24 Vills building it. That is like the entirety of Wham's economy focused on this at the moment. Another Ram comes in. The 2 Demi-Lancers do get upgraded. The Earl's Guards are on the field now, going to start doing their throws. Trying to deal with the camels.
That was a pretty good throw. Got some damage. The Lancers, they do tackle that Ram a little bit, and just delaying that Ram is already giving him his value. Now, keeping in mind, those Earl's Guards are going to be quite tanky. We'll see what CSO decides to do here. He's got no more upgrades in queue, and he might be thinking about going castle himself. But I don't know if that gets him anything he needs here. Now, it does...
This is interesting.
Yeah? Go ahead.
No, just the situation here. CSO's like economy isn't actually that great behind this. Obviously, this was a pretty big investment in the aggression, and only Wheelbarrow on the back end of this, and just now Wham getting his first eco upgrade.
I think both of these
pans out.
Both of these players are probably not happy economically, and that's why Wham is adding those extra manners now. And this is good. Wham is gonna let the manners start doing the talking, but he's getting more Earl's Guards. Now, this is something we saw yesterday as well. With the Earl's Guards, they're just something that can respond to most compositions, especially at this stage of the game. And we'll see what CSO decides to go for, but what is the viable choice in the age up here?
I mean, to age up quickly, I don't know. maybe you need to go culture here just to get things going, right? When you age up, just to get some upgrades. You have like a pretty wide army, so you're gonna need a lot of upgrades if you're gonna keep them all relevant. Some of them might kind of fall to the wayside here. There's not a lot of tempo on the side of Wham's choices, right there. The Earl's Guards aren't going to be like super relevant just yet, and with these going down, he's even losing his last little tool of mobility.
Now we can see he hasn't gone
More
for
manners.
the investment of the 9th set of mana, but there's many manners. He's going to be mannering him real good. CSO though, he's cooking some water. He's got a little bit of thirst he wants quenching, gets a fishing ship, but would not be surprised to see a bunch of military ships popping out here. Now, with the manners getting up, I was going to say he might be mustering those yeomans, but that's exactly what the man is doing. With 6 manners, he says, this is enough. I need to stop being aggressive. And those yeomans are actually going to do pretty good, I'd say. He's not ready for that age up yet. We see him reacting to this. He realizes, I'm in a little bit of danger here.
Yeah, it's a lot of men-at-arms. It's enough now to dive the TC. He doesn't have the full armor upgrades or anything like that on the side of Wham, so it's going to be a bit, but we'll see. And away, CSO is trying to navigate around this, trying to cut off reinforcements, but he doesn't want to be here. These units are too much. The Camel Archer is not quite going to be enough, I think, to kite out these Earl's Guards with the dagger throw as well.
Every single time they get a dagger throw, they're just going to take out one of these camels. And these camels are so expensive, just another one down. That is a pretty decent trade, I think, for Wham, because Wham is sitting at the back of this and just thinking about, oh, God, they're already dead, Wham, stop.
Culture Ring coming in, trying to upgrade some units, but CSO just going to have to tap out, not able to handle Wham's Lancaster, which comes out victorious again, and that will make 4-1 in this series. So congrats to Wham for qualifying, right? It happened. He qualifies to the LAN event.